What is up to all my Succession fans? Question for you before we get into tonight's conversation. Would you all think about that weird, kind of creepy, sinister kind of theme that I kind of remixed it myself, man. I went to the studio and remixed it. Let me know if y'all like that. It was something I was working on last few days. But what's going on to all my successors, all my Succession fans out there, man? Happy Succession Sunday. We got the return of what I think is one of the, if not the best written show on television, at least from its, beginning stages of season one. And now we're here on the fourth season. And it hurts my heart to say this, but the fourth and final season of Succession. Man, it's all good things must come to an end. I always prefer a show to leave on a high note versus kind of milking it. But we'll get into those discussions as we get into tonight's after show for the premiere episode again of this fourth and final season, episode 1, which was titled The Munsters, as we see the siblings versus their father full into effect. We get the collision between Shiv and Tom, one of the most earnest conversations we've personally have probably seen of them on the show. And yeah, the kids they did something that we've never seen with Mr. Logan, and that is lose. That was something that we'll get into. And speaking of Logan, y'all, I think Father Time is catching up to him. We'll talk about Mr. Logan this episode. He seems to be very much on a kind of reflection stage, at this point of his career. He misses his kids, not his birthday party. He misses, maybe some opportunities, some regrets. So we got a lot to discuss tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to be here with you all live. We got 40 people in the stream now. I appreciate you all. If you all are watching me for the first time, welcome to the channel. My name is Elliot. I'm a huge fan of the show. Been watching it since day one. I was a day oneer. It wasn't some shows, you kind of catch the band. I'll watch it. I was on this show from the very beginning. And from the very beginning, I'm like, this is something that's going to have something special, especially with HBO and its great cast and great people writing the show. So I'm a fan of the show. I covered the show for the first time last season for season 3 and had a great time doing so. And I had to bring it back. We're obviously doing it a little bit differently. I'm not doing I might do a breakdown. We'll see, but we're definitely doing the live streams. I love just doing this kind of immediate reaction, talking to you all about the episode. And of course, people watching replay, shout out to you all as well. But again, I'm a fan. I'm excited to be here. I want to make this a hub. If you guys will have me as your host, I would love to do this every Sunday with you all, talking about the show right after the episode. And again, we'll see if my schedule allows me to be able to make like a full breakdown, or I might piece this together and make it a breakdown. We'll see what comes of all of this. But I do know every Sunday we will be here with our after show talking about this great show that's coming to an end. But listen, before we get into everything, again, I appreciate you all joining me. Do me a favor if you can. If you love this show, if you're loving the conversation, make sure you all are hitting a thumbs up, sharing this video to anyone and everyone you know that loves the show, talks about the show. It's solo dolo. It's just going to be me, so I can focus on you all in the chat, pulling up your comments, your concerns, your theories, your predictions, all that fun stuff. So it's definitely going to be a fun time. And for those watching the replay, if you can do the same, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Consider subscribing to the channel. So with that being said, we had some people in the chat before we went live. A couple comments I'm going to bring up here on the screen. My man, Maddie, the loving scene. Oh, yeah, we'll get into that, man. That was, like I said, the most sincere moment between the two. There were still some things I wanted to be mentioned, like Shiv, not definitively asking Tom, were you the one that told my dad about the ruse last year? So we'll get into that discussion, but it was definitely a great scene. Who won the episode? We'll get to that, Maddie. We will definitely get to that. But man, Gio, what's going on? The war rooms are back full effect. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The kids honestly should have started their small media. We'll get to that, Maddie. I have some thoughts on Mr. Rome, who was definitely on board with that. Roy Jr.'s. We'll get to the Disgusting Brothers. We need a shirt, man. I need a shirt with the Disgusting Brothers on there. We'll get to two of my favorite characters, Tom and Greg, aka the Disgusting Brothers, a little bit later. They stay fumbling the bag. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, we'll get into all that stuff. Overbid like crazy. First off, what's going on, Zia? Overbid like crazy. It's going to be a mess. Logan will save them. Ooh, I see where your head's at, Zia. We'll see if Daddy Logan will have to help the kids. What's going on, Justin? Hello, everyone. Can't stay long. Just want to stop by and show some. Oh, I appreciate you, man. Yes, hit that thumbs up. Shout out to my man, Justin, coming through, showing some love. What's going on? Yep, the Pierce extra. Yeah, they squeezed. They was fine. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Good opening episode. I agree. I'll be back for the replay. Have to watch the episode. Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Definitely appreciate you just stopping by, and of course appreciate you watching the replay. Definitely. The beginning of season 3. Well, I'm gonna start off with a bang. Yeah. For sure. This was a great episode. I mean, we'll get into my thoughts here in a bit here, but definitely agree with you. The show is Dallas. Who killed? Yeah, man. That's my man Yutaka. What's going on? Hot take, but Greg was putting on the last good. He's like, listen, Yutaka, there's no Greg slander in tonight's chat, man. That's my guy. And by the way, Yutaka, shout out to Yutaka from the Horror Hour. Someone that I've had the opportunity to meeting at screenings, and we've did some collabs. Yutaka, not to put you on the spot, man, but let me know if you would like to join me if you're available, of course, and give me your 2 cents on the episode. Because I would love to know. But shout out to my man Yutaka from the Horror Hour. So listen, y'all, let me get into my initial thoughts, and then we'll just kind of break it down as we do with our normal breakdowns and all that fun stuff. So like I said, I'm gonna probably piece this out and just make it kind of my breakdown and see how it works. And if it doesn't, we might do an official breakdown. But neither here nor there. Again, just a quick intro to everyone joining me live, to everyone click on this video. This is my immediate thoughts after watching the first episode of the 4th and final season of Succession, what I consider to be one of the best written shows on TV. In this episode titled The Munsters, as we see the kids beat their dad. And speaking of beating, you can't beat Father Time. As Logan is in reflection, he's regretting some things, he's missing his children. It's a lot to go over. And speaking of missing, will Tom and Shiv, who part ways in this episode, at least verbally, right? We still got to get the divorce paper signed, but as of right now, it looks like Tom and Shiv will no longer be married, which I think we all saw that coming since, season 1, but it's still kind of hurt, but we'll get into that. But hey, again, I appreciate you all watching this video. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying the conversation, enjoying the discussion, like, share, comment, and subscribe. So first thing I want to get off my chest is just my immediate thoughts on this episode. This was fantastic. So for me personally, I'm a big fan of the show. I didn't have the opportunity to, what I did last season for season 3, I watched season 1 and 2 like back-to-back weekends where I can get all caught up. But season 3, there wasn't, between seasons 3 and 4, there wasn't a huge gap because we were off the air for like almost 3 years between those 2 seasons. So it was fairly still new in my head. I watched some of my previous videos to kind of get me up to speed. So I'm entrenched with the family. I'm very caught up to where we left things off with a friendly reminder with season 3 finale, which was freaking fantastic. We had the kids, and we'll talk about them when they're on the same page. I'm talking about Ken, Shiv, and Rome. When they are on the same page, when they are clicking, they get things done. And we've gotten hints of that in previous seasons, but we see that in full fruition tonight as we see them, like I said, beating their father, which is something we have never really seen from Logan, and that is losing, right? He lost in season 1 with his heart failing on him, and he's had some health issues, but as far as the business side of Logan, the monster, the beast, the man himself, we really never seen him lose in this matter and get outbid by his own family. So I'm wondering, secretly, does he feel like kind of accomplished? Like, those were my kids that did that to me. So we'll get into that. But initial thoughts, man, I thought this was a great way to open up this season, to show the power scaling of how the kids think that they're winning, that they beat their dad. But we'll see how long that high is going to last. I did watch a trailer after the episode premiere, and it looks like we're going to get in some great stuff this season. But I love how the power has shifted. But more importantly, breaking it down to a human level. And again, taking this godlike figure in Logan Roy and having him in this episode, having a moment of reflection, a moment of regret, missing his kids. And we'll get into that when we break down the scene. He missed his kids during his birthday party. But also, I feel as though he knows his time on earth, as he talks about what happens after you die. I think he knows that his time is coming up. And that might, a bold prediction right up top. I think we might end this season with Logan dying. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But even if he doesn't die, I think he knows that it's not it's a young man's game in this business. So I think he's going to either, officially bow out and give his legacy to one of his kids, or he's literally going to die. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But fantastic episode. Love the top to bottom. I was on the edge of my seat. Of course, the show has some really great dark comedy moments. It has just some great characters. And it has what I think will be the new hashtag, the Disgusting Brothers. Talking about Greg and Tom, y'all. I love them, and we'll get into them here. But again, off the bat, Great premiere episode. But speaking of the episode, and again, for those watching live, I'm going to break down the episode and then I'm going to go to your comments and go back and forth and have a conversation. It's going to be a good time, man. Again, I'm so excited to be doing this with you all live because I love the show. And more importantly, I love talking about the show with some awesome people. With you all are awesome. So let's talk about this first scene here. So first off, like I said, we established that it's Logan's birthday. And as far as timing goes, I think it's safe to say that we're probably a few months removed from the season 3 finale. It doesn't seem like there's been a huge time gap between season 3 finale and the season 4 premiere. So it's Logan's birthday. And if my memory serves me right, I think we've only celebrated 2 previous birthdays from Logan. Maybe just one, because I know definitely in season 1 they celebrated his birthday, his 80th birthday. That was the whole opening episode. So kind of full circle. I don't know if this is a year after season 1. So let's just say Logan's 80, 81, 82, maybe 83. I don't think it's been 3 years, but it could have been. So we know he's in his early 80s. He's celebrating his birthday. Everyone's there except his 3 kids. Connor's there, but we all know no one cares about Connor. Connor's there, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, him bleeding money. But the 3 kids aren't there. They're in LA. And again, we'll talk about as we break down the scene. It is very, very apparent that he misses his kids. He wants his kids there. Because again, I have this feeling that he knows his time is running a little bit late on this earth. But again, as we talk about his kids, again, they're in LA. And I love to see it, man. I love seeing Ken. Number one, I'm a fan of Ken, the confident version of Ken. I love what Jeremy brought to season 2 when he was like a shell of himself, but I love the confident Ken when he's, making calls, he's feeling good about himself, even though sometimes when that happens, he gets a little bit too into his feelings and he drugs, alcohol, and bad decisions. But I like this Ken, right? And Shiv, we'll talk about her, but the character I really want to put a spotlight on when we focus on the 3 children, Rome. Rome's come a long way. I'm always a fan of Rome. He's obviously the wild card. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. You never know whose mouth we're not going to go there, but he's a wild card, no less. But for the first time in a very long time, and maybe ever, he was about his business tonight, y'all. If you notice, he was the only one that was really focused on starting up this 100, I believe was the name of the company venture that they want to start into as they're getting the brands and they're coming up with the name. He was the only one that wasn't entirely on board with buying the Pierce company, which we'll talk about here in a second. So I'm very curious to see the progression of Roman growing up right in front of our eyes, man. He's growing up in front of our eyes, and I was very happy with that growth with him. And I'm very, very, very suspicious to see if I would love to see the kids work together this whole season. But it was very telling that he wasn't necessarily on board with all the decisions from his older siblings in this episode. Let me know if you guys got that feeling from Rome in this episode, and let me know if you prefer this more mature, more serious about his business version of Rome, or if you just prefer the disgusting, commenting, a crazy Rome who does he has fun with himself thinking about Jerry. Let me know which Rome you all prefer. But again, they're trying to come up with this new plan to have a new company. Again, it was titled The Hundreds. They're trying to compete with their dad, but a person that's kind of, again, talking about being on the fence and someone that seems to be kind of in and out of and has a lot on their plate. We have, and by the way, if you guys don't know, I'm a big Shiv fan. I think Sarah listen, everyone on the show is fantastic, but I really love Sarah. And I love what Shivs bring to the table. And we see that she's dealing with a lot in this episode. We see her, first off, she's running late, and she's coming up with all these different excuses of why she was running late. Oh, I'm making business calls, I'm making moves, just like you all should be doing this, that, and the other. But then, it comes out that, you know what, brothers, history has shown that going against dad doesn't always turn out well for the opposition. So I'm making some moves. She's making some, other business decisions, some plan B, C, D, just in case this doesn't work out, which again is very telling that the siblings aren't that reliant on them completely buying into defeating their dad. Again, Rome seems to be focused on starting this company, but he's still kind of apprehensive of going against his father. Ken just seems gun-ho on beating his dad. He seems so gun-ho on defeating his dad. That seems to be his number one acquisition, is beating father before anything else. But Shiv, she's not only dealing with, okay, get into business with my brothers and continuing, building my own legacy, but she got some family issues at her own right with her husband that we'll talk about with Greg that I think is really apparent in this episode that, Shiv from the previous seasons, oh, let's sleep around. Let's have an open marriage. Let's do a Will and Jada, let's do a little entanglement. Yeah, man, it's funny not to get into a relationship conversation, but hell, let's get into a relationship conversation. It always seems to be, and I've never been in an open relationship, and nothing against people that are in open relationships, but I always feel as though the person that like opens up that idea ends up being the one that gets hurt the most. And not all the circumstances, but in this circumstance, she was the one, if we go back to season 1, sleeping with her old boyfriend, who always reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal, who, if you saw the trailer, he's going to be making an appearance in this season. I think his name was Nate. She was the one that cheated, that got married and told her husband on their wedding night that she wants to have an open marriage. And now the tables have turned because you all can see she was very uncomfortable about my man Tom hanging out with models, hanging out with Naomi, who we'll talk about here in a second. So I love to see how this show just shows us our characters at their highest point, their confident levels on 10, but deep down inside, they have issues. They have, they always don't fully commit to what they want to do. So I love what we got from Shiv in this episode. And as we'll get into a little bit later, the scene between her and Tom. Listen, man, this show gives me a good laugh. It's very intellectual in regards to just seeing how people act, especially with the higher class. But man, I love these characters, man, and I felt bad for both of them in that situation. But we'll get into them a little bit later. But again, in the first, 10 minutes ago, we're just seeing the siblings coming up with the plans, trying to come up with a business, and then it gets brought up that there's a big fish that might be wanting to sell in the Pierce family. But back to the party. Again, we see that Logan is clearly bothered. He's upset. There's something on his mind. Again, my whole thing is he misses his kids. It's clearly apparent that he is just a dad missing his children, right? Again, you tear down the ego, tear down the business. These are still human beings. He misses them. But speaking of missing, Greg never misses a beat for me, y'all, as he invites this young lady by the name of Bridget, if I'm not mistaken. And Bridget's not welcome to the party, y'all. She's, she got this big ass purse that Tom brings up. She's taking social media pictures, and we'll talk about a picture that she takes a little bit later, which was a terrible decision. But I do want to mention who, speaking of lookalikes, I said how we got a Jake Gyllenhaal lookalike. Who in the comments, let me know watching live and watch on the replay. Let me know, number one, do you think like Nate, the character that plays Nate, looks like Jake Gyllenhaal? I've always thought that actor, I can't think of his name right now, Ashley something. He always reminds me of that. But Carrie, does she not look like Patty Jenkins? For any DC fans out there, Wonder Woman director and Monster director, she reminds me of her, and especially her haircut. But anyway, Carrie is telling Greg that, Bridget she doesn't belong here, right? It's kind of, she's at the wrong party. But what I found interesting in this conversation, let me know in the comments, Marsha. They bring up Marsha in this episode. It's kind of not a throwaway line, but it's kind of a one-liner where she says that Marsha is overseas and she's overseas shopping. I can't remember where she is, somewhere. She says she's shopping forever. Do you all think Marsha's off the table this season? Because again, that relationship was very interesting to me. With obviously, we saw Logan having a relationship with the Pierce, Holly Hunter's character. He had a little affair with her, and obviously that upset Marsha. And I help me in the comments, y'all. I can't remember how things left off with Marsha and Logan. I don't think divorce was thrown out because obviously she's too smart to be like, she's not going to divorce Logan. I mean, that's a paycheck for generations for her family individually. Not saying she doesn't love him, but I think there's a little bit more of an alternative motive to her love for Logan. But let me know in the comments if you all think Marsha will have any involvement in this season, or do you think, because this is the last season, we have obviously our main focus is the family and the kids and Logan and the Disgusting Brothers. Do you all think Marsha will be involved in the season? And if she isn't, are you okay with how things, again, I can't really remember. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in season 3, because she was very upset with Logan's affairs, they came to some agreement, but I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something about like he gave her son something, or gave him. Let me know in the chat, guys. I'm looking in the chat now. I can't really remember how things ended with her, but if she's gone, if I'm being honest, knowing this is the last season, I'm okay with not getting a full conclusion on her story, but I would imagine she's going to be involved some way somehow, especially if my whole thing of Logan regret, reflection, the end of his life, he might want to bring her into the situation if indeed this is his last days. But neither here nor there. Let me know in the comments if there's any Marsha fans out there, and if you guys want to see more of her in this final season. I think she's going to be involved some way somehow. But as we have that conversation going on, we see Tom call Shiv. Tom. He's I got something to say about Tom because I'm very curious on his decisions in this episode from a lot of different accounts. So we see him calling his wife, Shiv, for the time being, his wife, and lets her know that, hey, honey, I'm on a little dinner date or lunch date with Naomi, which obviously we know who Naomi is. It's the ex-girlfriend, or apparently he's the ex-girlfriend now of Ken, and he's meeting with her. But the question at hand is, what's Tom's end game, ladies and gentlemen? What is Tom's moves here? Because why did he think it was a good idea to call Shiv to let her, because he's let her know that, hey, I'm meeting with Naomi, and he tells her about the Pierce acquisition. But then later in the episode, he doesn't tell Logan that he spoke to Shiv. So the question I have for everyone in the live chat and everyone watching on the replay, what is Tom's angle? What do you all think Tom is doing? Because he seems to be having one foot in with, seemingly with Shiv, and trying to, obviously we talk about what happens in this episode, but he's still trying to appease his wife by letting her in with this information. But then he's obviously still in bed with Logan. What's Tom's end game, guys? I love it, number one. Listen, I love a good stirring the tea and the drama and all that stuff, but I'm just curious on what is Tom's end game in this situation. Does he want to, please his wife? Hey, I was secretly giving you some insight. I still love you. Let's maybe try to make it work while still feeding into Logan. I'm your little bitch boy. I'm your little snitch boy. I'm doing all the dirty work. I love it. That's all I got to say. I love whatever this end game is, whatever this plan is. Will Tom and Greg, the Discussing brothers, end on top of this show? Will they be the last men standing? Let me know in the chat, guys. What do you all think about Mr. Tom and the moves he's making in tonight's episode, but more importantly, the moves he's making within the rest of this season? But more importantly, as he tells his wife that, it's a business date, but it's not a date. Like he's gaslighting his wife, right? Like, hey, it could be a date, it couldn't be a date. So again, it's very interesting to see what he's doing. But the most important thing is it shook Shiv. And we don't see Shiv being shook throughout this season, because again, just looking at the power scaling and the power shifting throughout these seasons, we all know who wears the pants in that relationship. It's 100% Shiv. We all know that top to bottom. There's never been a time where Tom was the leader of the family per se, but Shiv is in her feelings, y'all. Like, listen, at this point in the episode, they're talking about starting a new company, maybe the Pierce conversation isn't brought up yet, but the idea, there's millions and billions of dollars floating around, but Shiv's in her feelings. Tom has cracked that safe. And again, the vulnerability of these characters are being on full display in this episode, from Logan that we'll talk about, and as well as Shiv. We see at this point that, hey guys, and by the way, I love the siblings when they're on the same page. I love how the big brother and little brother are like, hey guys, we know we got business deals going on, but can we get 5 minutes? Can we have a family meeting? I love that because again, it's so fun to see these, pompous, not airheaded, but bigger than life, kind of conceited people with egos the size of the moon. I love that stuff about these characters, but I love when the show brings them back to reality, because if they're so detached from reality, it makes it hard to watch, as far as like just watching rich people do rich people things. But I love when they can bring it down to a human level. She's bothered by this, right? Tom has shook her core, and she's telling her brothers like, hey, yes, it's very much so bothering me that my husband's in this situation. And I love that Kendall and Rome were there for their sister. It reminds me so much of season 1. One of my favorite scenes of the show, especially with the 3, is when they were, at the for Shiv's wedding night, and they were smoking the joint and they was on a little boat. I don't know what it was about that scene. It was just so sincere, and it felt like we were watching. And this is why I love these actors. It felt like we were watching kids, being kids again, because there's so much rift and drama and backstabbing. But to see them on that boat was just one of the most like memorable moments with them. But this is up there too, because I love that they were, nice. We poke fun at each other. We can be a little bit mean to each other. But hey, are you okay? She clearly wasn't okay. But more importantly, within this conversation, it gets brought up that the Pierce family is selling their company. That Nan is no longer wanting to run the business, and she wants to sell her business. And right now, who's on the bidder, who's number one, and that is Logan. So again, we're seeing these kids, are they going to make the move or not? So before we get into breaking down the moves here, again, we have 75 people watching live. And again, for those that are watching replay, I appreciate you. I love this show. But more importantly, I love interacting with you all about this show that I love. It makes it 10 times better to can have someone to talk to, right? So if you all are having a good time, if you appreciate the conversation, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up. I'm going to try to get to the comments. I'm thinking the best idea is to probably just do the breakdown and then, interact with you all. So keep the comments coming. I'm going to read them. Definitely get them on there, and I'm going to pull them up when I can. But if you're having a good time, y'all, hit the thumbs up, share, and leave your thoughts, predictions, all that stuff. If you agree, disagree, let's have the discussion. But again, I just want to take the moment to appreciate y'all. So back into the conversation, we see that the new guy, his name is Tellis, I believe his name is. He's a new character. He's our crew's kind of financial advisor of sorts. I'm very curious on what role he's going to play besides just being, just a guy running numbers. He lets them know that Nan wants to get this deal closed tonight. And Nan, she was running. She had the Roy family definitely on their toes in this episode. But before we pivot over to that conversation, this wasn't a huge piece of conversation within the episode, but I do think it's an important scene. It's an important character who I think is making some big moves, and that's our boy, our Connor boy, right? What is Connor doing this episode? Let's talk about Connor. So, and we'll just kind of wrap up his plot because it wasn't a lot with Connor, but it is something I think they're setting up for this season. So Connor, he's in the 1%. He's in the 1%, man. And listen, I don't want to make Connor seem like to undervalue him. I think there will be something important with Connor in this season because they've been setting it up. He's always the forgotten son. Obviously, he's not. He's the oldest. He's kind of forgotten about. He's now into politics. We know he's been wanting to run for president since season 1, and he's in the 1% now. And he's starting to lose momentum. People are starting to forget that he's running for president. So in order to get him back into the conversation, talk ain't cheap. My man has to put up $100 million just to keep his name in the conversation. Now, I don't want to make the assumption that Connor's going to end up the president of this show or of this universe, the president of the U.S., but I wouldn't put it past this show for them to put Connor on top. Now, the big thing that we get with Connor in this episode is obviously $100 million is no money, no, nothing to sneeze at, right? But then we're noticing that he's starting to realize that's a lot of money. And more importantly, he's bleeding with this campaign. And he feels like, and we all know, can we just be honest with each other? He is a joke. Connor is a joke, y'all. He is which is even funnier because it plays into the politics of it all as far as not to get too political, but a lot of politicians sometimes aren't the brightest bulb. But we see that this is bleeding him, and he's talking to Willa, who is another character that's been kind of, I don't want to say forgotten about, but I think she's making money moves. I've always had my suspicions on her, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was man, I wonder, let me know in the comments, y'all. Willa, she's been someone that's been in the dark for a while. We obviously know she was, his side piece, prostitution, hired on, fell in love, blah, blah, blah. Now it's going to be his wife to be. But I'm very curious on if she's going to have a big reveal that she's been working for someone this whole time, like Sandy, if she was maybe hired from Sandy or someone else entirely. I'm very curious on what her end game is. But I mean, let's be honest, she's living the life. You went from being a no-name actress, a stage play actress to, well, before that was a prostitute turned actress, now turned into this honey housewife, not housewife, but this money grabbing individual, and now about to marry into the family. So I'm very curious on if there's another angle with her character, and if she's been sought in. For any Game of Thrones fan, it reminds me of Tyrion's girlfriend, whose name is slipping my mind right now. So it starts with an S, but I remember, his father obviously set that up. So I'm very curious on if Willa's going to have an end game. But neither here nor there. The important thing about this is we're going to get another wedding. And if you've seen the trailers, especially in tonight, there will be a wedding between these two. And we see that Connor wants the wedding to not be as big as she wants it to be. So speaking of weddings, this is the second or third wedding we've seen in the show. And if you guys have seen 4 weddings in a funeral, I'm very curious if we see this wedding take place and we know how season 1 ended, if they end this season with Connor and Willa's wedding, if it's going to end in a bad way. Because last time, again, when we had the wedding with Shiv and Tom, someone ended up dying. And again, I wonder if there's going to be any deaths with their wedding. So we'll see what's going on with Connor. But let me know any theories, predictions you all have for Connor this season. Again, he wasn't too heavily involved in this premiere episode, besides his $100 million price tag to keep his name in the conversation and the whole wedding situation. Let me know if you guys see anything going on with that. And again, let me know, Miss Willa, is there anything that she has up her sleeve? Should we be keeping an eye on this young woman who's come a long way from what she used to do to where she's at now? But speaking of what's going on now, we get the confirmation that Tom, because the conversation earlier in the episode with Shiv was wondering if Tom was that their dad's angle. Is Tom now the bitch boy? Is he running the errands? Is he kind of trying to make his way into the Pierce situation? And it is confirmed with this conversation on the couch, where we see Tom lets Logan know that, yes, Nan is kind of backing away from the business. This is our opportunity to come in and take up the company, and everything's looking bright and bright for Logan. But then Tom, again, I remind you guys to look at, there's the business side of the show, which I love, and the drama, but then there's the human side of the show. And we see that again with Tom. While all this is going on, and this is a bold move by Tom. Again, he's making moves in this episode, y'all. He's playing his cards. He's taking note. He's taking tally on how people react to things he says. And this is a big scene here as he's talking to Big Daddy Logan. He says to him, so, let's just say the relationship doesn't turn out well for, me and your daughter, Shiv. And he mentions, in classic Logan line, right? I love Logan. Such a great character. He says, if we're good, we're good. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, do we feel as though at this point in the early part of the season, do we feel Tom is more concerned about his relationship with his wife, or if he's more concerned about his financial stability with being in bed with Logan? Let me know how you all feel about it. Because again, he's reading the room. He's reading Mr. Logan. He asks him, if things don't work out, can I count on you, Dad, father-in-law? Can I count on you to still be my father-in-law if things inevitably don't turn out well? So I'm very curious if you all think he's more concerned about rehabilitating or staying in good terms with his wife, at least at this point in the episode, or if you feel like he's more concerned about his financial stability. Let me know what you all think. Again, I'm very curious on where his end game, where his play is with this particular situation that he has at hand. But again, throughout this beginning scene, again, we still see Logan not happy, not having a good time. He wants to leave, and he does leave with Colin to go to a little diner and reflect on life. So we'll get to him in a second. But again, let me know what you all are thinking about Willa, about Connor, but more importantly, Tom's end game. So before we move on, I do have we'll take a little commercial break. We'll take a little sponsor break, matter of fact. This thing above me that's in all these little videos I've been doing? Let's hear a word from today's sponsor, and we'll get back into the conversation. And today's sponsor is coming from the great Movie Palette. Let's talk about it. Movie Palette is a distinct way to enjoy your favorite movie displayed artistically on canvas. Their palettes are carefully crafted by digital artists who choose the dominant color from each scene from your favorite movie. These vibrant colors are arranged side by side in stripes on high quality canvas. The stripes are displayed in chronological order, and the width of each one corresponds with the length of the movie scene. The result is an intriguing piece of artwork that gives you a unique view of the movies that you've seen many times before. Now, if you can't find your favorite movie listed on their website, don't worry. You can still enjoy it displayed on the canvas. Simply tell them the name of the movie along with the year it was made, and they will create a custom movie palette just for you. All right, so shout out to today's sponsor, which is Movie Palette, y'all. You see that thing behind me in there? If someone can guess what that is, I'll give you a big old thumbs up, a virtual hug. But Movie Palette, as I said in the video, is a cool company that puts together a palette of your favorite movies and shows, Succession being one of them possibly, where they can put this together and you can hang it up on your wall, in your office, your movie room, your theater room. It's a really cool company, y'all. Again, check them out. The link's in the description of this video, and you can use my discount code if you all are interested in pulling one of your own movie palettes in your own home. So again, link in the description. Check them out. You might not be disappointed with the option they have. They got a lot of cool things. And if they don't have the movie or show you're a fan of, they can actually make one up for you. So it's really cool. So again, shout out to today's sponsor, Movie Palette. Again, if you're interested, link in the description. So let's get to my favorite. Crack the knuckles. Let me get to the boys. The boys are back in town, y'all. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Disgusting Brothers. Can someone give me a t-shirt with that? I probably wouldn't wear it because I wouldn't want anyone thinking anything crazy. I mean, like, Disgusting Brothers. Listen, I'm talking about Greg and Tom, y'all. I love them so much. As Greg is taking shots at Tom's girlfriend, Bridget, with her gigantic purse, her posting on social media, her questioning people, and deciding to take a selfie with Logan. What is going on with Bridget? What an empty-headed move that she made there. But we see. Moving on with the Disgusting Brothers. One of the funniest, anytime these two are on screen, complete side tangent. Can we get a Greg, once the show ends, I need a Greg and Tom spinoff. Just they gave us a title tonight. It's called The Disgusting Brothers, right? On HBO, coming out 2024. I would be there for that show. I need it now in my veins. But we see our boy Greg hooks up with Bridget in one of the rooms. I can't remember what room it was. Again, their banter, their back and forth, it's always a meme. It's always just top-notch comedy for me, and I just love those two. Tom tells Greg, man, you don't need to be bragging because this is Logan's house. He has cameras every which way, every room, and you just made him his own little sex tape. And we see Greg is fearful of this. He wants to talk to Logan, which he does a little bit later. But I just need to know in the comments, y'all. Are they your favorite characters? They certainly, I just love how much, again, the show can be a little bit, a lot of talking heads, a lot of, serious business conversations, some drama with relationships. But I love when we get them two on screen. And I love that the show, like, obviously they knew this after season one, that these are the two characters that the fans really enjoy. They love their banter, and they really have played on it. It could have gotten old. It can get very old when a show realizes, oh, these are characters people like, so let's just throw them at the TV. Let's just throw them at the audience all the time. But they use them so perfectly, and when they are used, they do not disappoint. So again, the Disgusting Brothers never fail to disappoint. But speaking of disappointments, y'all, it's perfect transition into Logan, and not necessarily disappointed in his current situation at hand, because he always finds a way to get back into good graces with whatever business endeavors he has. But again, at this point in the episode, he's kind of fed up with this party without his family, without his siblings there. He's walking, he goes to this diner, and it's kind of, I assume it's probably his favorite diner in New York. But he's with his best buddy. As we know, Colin, man, I would love a memoir on Colin, right? I mean, he has to know all the Logan family darkest secrets, including, obviously, Ken with season one. But he's having a heart-to-heart with him. And I thought it was just really, really interesting to have this conversation with Colin, because he talks about, first off, his viewpoint on people, how he looks at people as just numbers and digits, and looks at people as a market. This kind of speaks to the psychology. I mean, listen, as crude or as disappointing as it might be, but someone of that stature, they got some screws loose in the best way possible. Like, they don't view life the same way we do, right? So he's talking about people and how he views them in the market, but more importantly, he's talking about life. If you really listen to what he's talking about life and where he's come to this point of his life, that he doesn't see people as like normal people. He doesn't, have a good relationship with his family, obviously, right? And he's talking about life after death and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, wow, we are watching Logan, the great Logan, just fall apart in front of us because after all these business deals, after the billions of dollars he's accumulated, the biggest, in this world, he's probably the richest, top 5 richest man in the world. After all that, at what expense, right? What do you lose in order to gain that stature, to gain that persona, to gain the name of Logan Roy? And you lose what we see him losing is literally on his, whatever, like I said, 82nd, 83rd birthday. He has Connor, no disrespect to Connor, but he doesn't have his family there. Masha's off somewhere shopping forever. The kids are planning to plot against their dad. All those millions of dollars, billions of dollars, deals made. He doesn't have. What does it all accumulate to? You're coming home to nobody. And we see him having this conversation with Colin about, what do you think about death? What do you think about life after death, and more particularly? And when he said that, y'all, I'm thinking to myself, he knows his time is ticking. He knows his time on earth is numbered. And he knows he has to make amends with his family. So it's going to be really interesting to see Logan this season, him coming to grips with that reality, him coming to grips with not being the most present father, him coming to grips with not being the most pleasant person. It's gonna be really interesting to see Mr. Logan in his final season, y'all. But Brian Cox, man, he's just such a great actor, man. And Carrie, she tries to get the kids on the phone with him because she notices that he's upset. But let me know how you all felt about that. Again, we know Logan, so he's if you want to quote a bad guy on the show, no character on the show is good or bad, but if there is one, a quote unquote bad person in this villain per se persona, it's definitely Logan. But let me know if y'all felt that sense of vulnerability, that sense of humanity that Logan was saying in this scene. I felt it, but let me know if you guys felt the same thing in this scene. I thought it was very telling to where he is mentally, and a lot of regrets, a lot of reflection from Mr. Logan. But let me know what you all thought about that scene. But moving on to the kids, they have arrived to Naomi's place, and listen, y'all have already said it in the live chat. I mean, it was pretty obvious that Mrs. Not Naomi, but Nun, the Pierce Nun, or Nun Pierce, she was playing them like a little fiddle. Oh, I have a headache. Oh, because I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, you had them come. I would believe she was in some winery somewhere with her, $1 million mansion. She's calling these kids there, and she's just kind of playing games and having Naomi talking to Ken and like, oh, she's not feeling that good. She has a bit of a headache, this, that, and the other. They know what she's doing. And listen, no disrespect to None. She's doing her thing. This is what you do. You know your worth, right? And this is a family's beef going on. Take advantage of it. So shout out to her. Very genius. I hate, what did she say? I hate bidding wars. I hate this conversation. 6 and 7, the line by Rome. 8, 9, what comes after 9? Oh, I just love the little small banter this show throws in, like not forced comedy, just very subtle comedy. But she played those kids and played Logan at the same time. And rightfully so. Again, I think it was a very power move on her end, and can't hate on that. But the kids are very privy to this. They're very much aware of the situation at hand. As we see, again, I don't want to leave out one of the funniest moments is the conversation that Greg has with Logan. We'll get to more serious stuff, but again, I can't brush over that scene. Logan is trying to do this literally $6, $7, $8, $10 billion worth deal. Meanwhile, Greg thinks that Logan's upset with him because of his situation that he had with Bridget. And he has a conversation with him, and he tells him, listen, he pretty much blames Bridget being at fault, and Colin tells him that she has to leave the party. And again, we're seeing Greg, stoner, egghead Greg, going from that to now he's like, Colin, what did he say? I thought I wrote it down. When Colin's removing from the party, God be willing. Listen, man. I'm telling you, I'm very doubtful that it would happen. But if they somehow want to do a spinoff of Greg and Tom, I'm here for it, man. I just love them so much. So funny. But back to the seriousness. We see Nun meeting with them, and she is, she lets them know. And again, she's like, "Oh, I have a bidder. I'm pretty confident in where I'm going with this." And we all know who that was, and that is, Logan. But a very interesting moment here. We see, and again, it's the personal relationships, it's the human relationships that really caught my eye in this episode. With all this on the line, Shiv just throws it out there like a nuclear bomb when she mentions when Nun's like, well, Shiv, you're the husband of the head of the news department. How does that look? Logically and logistically on paper. Shiv just throws a little nuclear bomb in the room. Oh, I'm getting a divorce anyway, and kid, and I love Rome's response. Oh, sucks when love doesn't work, whatever. But Ken, they were both caught off surprise. So I'm like, oh, so there it is. That's the first time we've heard the D word coming out of their mouths. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, the big thing within this scene here, and again, the Pierce Nun, so smart. She's playing them. The number, I think it started off at, I think it was 6, right? Because Logan was like, Logan initially, as Tom tells him, I thought we were going in at 7. No, I don't like her. I hate her. Let's go to 6. And the kids, man, again, stepping up in this episode, because we've seen them kind of fall back, kind of be nervous, kind of be scared, kind of fumble the bag. But we see them coming together and saying, listen, this is the truth of the matter. Our dad hates you. He's going to ruin your legacy. The years of that you've built, the wealth that you built, the legacy, the name you've built. He's going to destroy all that. He's going to take all your properties and throw them in the dirt, And then they throw out their numbers. They have the conversation. We're coming in at 8. Matter of fact, 8.5. And they're talking to Tellus, I believe was his name. And they're like, can we do 8? Can we do 8.5? And the number's going up. And we go from 9 to, they throw, and then Tom gets on the phone. Again, you see the nervousness of Logan, who never loses. He's get him, call your damn wife and figure out the number. They throw Shiv, again, smart on her part. She throws out, our ceiling's 12, right? Again, I love, first off, I'm saying these numbers like they're talking about $12, $1,200. We're talking about billions of dollars that they're just throwing around like it's just, it's just a Tuesday, right? So the number gets up to definitively, as Ken says, we got to do a conversation ender. And that number was 10. And again, I want you all to notice, and I don't know if this is something we should keep an eye out for as far as them working together, but then slowly growing apart maybe. Rome, obviously he was on board, but he still was kind of apprehensive. Again, he wanted to start the company. He didn't really want to go all in on the Pierce family. He was kind of, he's a little brother, right? It's kind of peer pressure, and the little brother just has to agree with his older siblings. I'm very curious if we're going to see Rome venture off and do his own thing, because again, if my theory of Mr. Logan here not making it out the season, we might see the kids go their separate ways. But again, I'm very curious on how you all feel about Rome in this episode, him not necessarily being comfortable with a lot of decisions his older brothers or older brother and older sisters making. But all in all, the big thing within this moment, the kids win. Again, I ask you at home, when have we seen Logan lose? Never. I mean, he's lost, let's say he had a heart attack in season 1. His heart failed on him. But as far as business goes, he doesn't lose. But the fact that he lost to his kids is very telling. But more importantly, he loses in this moment. But I wonder, do you all feel like deep down inside, he was maybe a little bit happy that his kids won? That it wasn't some outside, bidder or something like that, or Stu coming in fourth quarter, or Sandy coming in. So I wonder, does he feel kind of proud that his kids did that they beat him? Because I think about another great finale with season 2, when obviously he sent Ken to be the fall guy, throw him under the bus for the allegations with the boat situation, and how he obviously twisted that on his father and called him out, and Greg saved the papers. And he had that smile on his face as Ken was doing it on the camera. I wonder, we obviously didn't see him smile. We saw his response was like, when he called them on the phone, it was like, congratulations, you came up with a bigger number. But I think deep down inside, he's kind of happy that his kids did that. I don't know. Let me know if I'm off on that count. But I love that moment there. But we end the episode, y'all, on a very, very somber, very telling scene. It was a moment, a scene that I wish was addressed. And I think this is one of many conversations between the two. And this is at the point at the back half of the episode. Shiv heads home, Tom's home. Again, we know that their arrangements very, different. If I'm home, you're at a hotel. If you're at a hotel, they're on different paths. But we get this moment as, again, she's very bothered. She was the one that wanted this entanglement. She wants this open marriage, but she's making fun of Tom and Greg's disgusting brothers. Greg or Tom's out here dating models. She's talking about, oh, do you have the models here? Do you have the models there? Or do they do? She's very, very jealous, y'all. It's very apparent. And listen, I love Shiv, but you got what you get. You got what you deserve. Again, I'll never forget season 1 when she told her husband on their wedding night that she wants an open marriage after the man agreed to marrying her. Come on now. And then she told, and I can't even forget last year, she told him, or season 3, she told him, oh, we don't really love each other, right? It's like, damn, Shiv, I love you, but goddamn, you're cold and heartless as all hell. Anyway, we see Shiv was clearly bothered by this agreement. We see Tom brings up her decisions that she's made in this relationship, and ultimately it was her decision to have this open marriage. But then she brings up the D word yet again, and by D, I'm referring to divorce. And we see that Tom is clearly upset about it. Again, I wonder if we saw in this episode, this is the last time Tom has given her his heart, if he's given her his good graces. He won, I think, up until this point. Again, going back to his decision in this episode, the Endgame discussion we had earlier, I think, and again, his reactions, who's gonna react the way I wanted to. Logan didn't really take the bait. Oh, if we're good, we're good. My wife didn't really take the bait, like not being thankful for giving me that information about the Pierce acquisition. I think we saw Tom just say, you know what, Shiv, that's it. And I think it's first off, the acting in this scene. Shiv is I love Shiv, but she has the ego just as big as her father. We always see Shiv, as far as emotionally speaking, she's always one step ahead. She's never really beaten down. She's never really caught off guard, except for last season, obviously, by Tom. But seeing her in the scene, I don't think she wants a divorce. I think she thinks she wants a divorce because she kind of was, again, outsmarted by her husband, who we always know that she married Tom. And Nate, everyone knows that she just married Tom because he was obviously easy to kind of control and manipulate. But I've always wondered if she actually ever loved Tom. If you all at home watching live, again, shout out to all 73 of you, all thumbs up, share, all that good stuff. Did Shiv ever really love Tom? Ever in a relationship? I know we never seen their humble beginnings, the honeymoon stages, all that stuff. We kind of jump right into the relationship. He engages her, offers to engage her in season 1, episode 1, and all that stuff. So we really never saw like who made the moves. What does she see in Tom? I think she sees he's a good man, aka discussing bros all day. But I think at the end of the day, she knew she's a good man. Yes, she could take advantage of him. Yes, he does come from money. It's not like he's just a chip off the old block. He's not a Willa. But I wonder if she ever loved him. Is my big question I have for you all. Because it's clear that Tom definitely loved her, but I wonder if if it was reciprocated. But definitively, they are saying that this is over, that they gave it all. What did they say? Hey, we gave it a go, right? Like marriage is just like something you check off of a box, right? Even though I'm sure that this divorce will be very ugly financially. Like, I don't know if there was a prenup signed. It's going to be ugly if we do see that, which I'm very curious if we see that. Again, it's just the last season. It's a lot that's going to be thrown at us. So I'm very curious on how that divorce, how that's going to play into the season. But, Tom was upset, clearly. Shiv was upset, clearly, and I love that we see them on the bed, just kind of like, he also act like, oh, do you want to, I think I can muster up enough energy to have sex with you if you want. And she says, no, I'm good. In this scene here, man, let me know, man, is this it? Is this it, man? Them holding hands, them throwing in a towel. Is it? Will we see them now being at odds, and we're going to see the real Tom, right? We're going to see the real get dirty, roll up the sleeves, bore on the floor Tom, right? Are we going to see that version of him? Let me know in the comments, man. Is this the last of Shiv and Tom? Let's talk about it. But as we wrap up this season premiere, our last scene is, of course, the man of the hour, and that is Mr. Logan. As he's watching the news, he's called Sid. He sees what does he say? The guy looks like he makes fun of the newscaster, and he says to Sid, "Are you losing it?" was the question, right? But my question is, Logan, are you losing it? Right? You lost in this episode. You don't have your kids on your birthday. You lost a deal to your kids. Are you losing it, Logan? Again, ladies and gentlemen, are we seeing this man, this untouchable godlike figure in this world of the Succession? He's losing it. He's coming to his finish line. What happens when you die? Well, we might find. Well, I don't think we're going to find out this show. Supernatural, but will we see Logan die by the end of the season? Let me know. Or will he end up on top as he always does? But that is my thoughts. That's my breakdown. I'm going to get to the questions here again for those that are watching. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed the discussion, thumbs up, share, leave your thoughts in the comments. I might do these after show, cut it into the breakdown. We'll see how it goes. But if you enjoyed it, thumbs up. Let me know in the comments, your thoughts in the comments. But I'm here to talk to my live audience again. We got 82 of you all watching live. I appreciate you again. We're gonna tinkle with it in the weeks ahead as far as how I'm going to be doing these breakdowns, but I just figured it'd be easier if I just got all my thoughts out and then interact with you all. But next week we might mix it up, see how you all feel about certain things and whatnot. But let me scroll up. I got a lot of comments here, and I'm going to try to get to every single one of them because I appreciate you all being here with your boy. All right. Let's see. And let me know in the chat too, since I have you all here. Moving forward, would you prefer a actual breakdown, or you guys suffice with the live show and then cut it up to a breakdown? Let me know. All right. I think I know where I'm at. All right. What's up, Nisi? Hey, Elliot, it is me. Or does Shiv act like she's pregnant? Well, there was a conversation that they had in season 3 about her freezing her eggs. But you bring up a good point, Nisi, because there are moments where we see her, whenever there's a big moment, she grabs her. I mean, that's just for some people when they get shocked, they grab, their stomach drops and get nervous or whatnot. But that is a good question. I don't know if I'm trying to think of behaviors. I mean, that's a good question. Let me know in the chat. That's a very good question. If you all think she's, again, the only reason I don't want to say no, but the only reason I think that it might not be the case, because they had the conversation last season about her freezing her eggs. But it's a good question. Very good question. Let me know in the chat, guys. Is Shiv pregnant? And if it's Tom's baby, you would think it is, but it could be Nate's. Who knows? But good question, Easy. I love how we found information on Greg's. Oh, Chantel Anderson. Yes. That is a good point. I forgot to mention when Greg was going back and forth when he's talking, they were on. Yes, thank you, Chantel. I forgot to mention. I had it in my notes too. I forgot to bring it up. But when Logan's on hold, he's like, "Oh, lighten up the room. Let's make some jokes." He has, he tries to get Carl to make a joke, and no one's making the man laugh. But leave it to Greg the egg to make him laugh. He doesn't make him laugh, but he tells him that you're an old man, you're mean, this, that, and the other. But then he also tells him, he cuts low, man. Greg cuts low. He tells him that he's alone. His kids aren't here. Where are your kids? Your kids are absent. And then Logan takes another shot at him and says, "Where's your dad? Is he doing something behind the park or something?" So yeah. What is this? What is the deal with Greg's dad? Are we ever going to find out? Because we've only met his mom. We obviously know his grandfather. But yeah, that's that good point. I like that information. I'm very curious if we're going to get more of him later in the season. But thank you for bringing that up. Never watch, just hear. Love. Oh, thank you. Well, hey, I recommend you give it a watch. I know this was more than 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, but I appreciate you. What's up, Jay? What's up, Elliot? Somebody say hello. Never watched the series. Maybe Jay, if you're still here, yes, watch it. And I appreciate you all who don't even watch the show and just showing some love. I appreciate you. Oscar Film Forecast. She's a firecracker. He's talking about Greg, talking about Bridget. Yeah. My man G Reviews Elite episode didn't miss it. Yep, I definitely agree. And let me know in the chat too. What score would you all give tonight's episode? I'm at a 9 out of 10. I thought this was an excellent premiere and set up a lot of plots that I'm very curious about. So let me know in the comments. Put a number in the chat for me, guys, which you guys would rate this episode. Can't go wrong with Succession. Watching billionaires act like idiots. Great writing, acting. Season 3 was kind of slowed down, but great. I love season 3. I love season 3, but I know some people definitely wasn't the biggest fan, but I love season 3. What's up, Nate? Logan was, yeah, he was. Yutaka, this premiere was good. The season looks wow. Yeah, that trailer was crazy, man. Birthdays will do that to you. Okay, so you think so? You all think that Logan might die in the season. That's where my head's at, man. Him reflecting on life and all that. I live, I live for relatable, realistic family. Functions doesn't matter, but yeah, for sure. That's the thing I love, man. Is again, these are, I'm not a billionaire, millionaire, maybe one day, but not right now. But the thing that I attach to is the human story for sure. Yeah, it's going to be very dramatic and sad ending. I think so, Zia. Plus, they touch on modern day politics very rarely, but when they do, it's spot on. Old media versus new media, tech industry up. And speaking of, we didn't get Alexander Skarsgård's character in this episode. He was in the trailer. He's going to play a big part in this because obviously him and Logan are obviously in business together. So yeah, I'm very curious on how he's going to play into the season. But yeah, very much so. Very much has a pulse to the conversation in today's society. Love the Roman is showing more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I love that. Yeah, Roman is probably the most likable kid. Isn't that crazy? Because man, season 1, that boy, and he still says some crazy things. But yeah, it's so true. No one cared about God. He might be the president, y'all. He might be the president in the show. Kind of is a wee bit touched in the head. Talk about clueless and zero self-aware. I mean, he had a moment of reflection in this episode too, right? Like he realizes that he's bleeding out, that he doesn't want to be the laughing stock. So I think he's coming to realization. It's kind of hard, but he's getting there. I found it funny. The little woman feeling discussing talking about money as if she's better conservatives as Logan. She hates to think about money. So hypocritical. Yeah, and I think that was just a ploy. But yeah, not enough. Okay, not enough Kendall Roy tonight. Was a supporting character tonight. Craig Logan got more speaking. Yeah, you know what, voice? I think the I don't want to say harsh reality, because I think Jeremy Strong is arguably pound for pound maybe the strongest actors, like outside of the show, like filmography and just as an actor goes. I think he's one of the stronger. Him and Brian Cox are probably two of the top tier actors. I think we're going to see him more in a supporting role, voice, because I mean, honestly, his character arc from being the son that was supposed to be the CEO to losing, that spot from his dad, and obviously killing the kid in season 1 and being the puppet of his dad and coming back on terms. So I think we've seen, especially with the way he's carrying himself in this episode, I think we've seen the arc of Kendall. Not saying there's not more meat on the bone, but I think we're going to see him playing more of a supporting role this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if like Roman steps up more, or Shiv of that matter. So I'm here with you. He's my favorite character. If you guys don't know, Kendall is my favorite character of the show. So yeah, I would definitely love to see him be more in the forefront. But I mean, he was technically he's almost like the co-lead of the show for the first 3 seasons. So we'll see what it goes. But I understand what you're saying. He's come a long way. My man Roman's making moves now. I love that for him. Yeah, I love to see that growth for sure. And you guys feel the same way. He's not only seemed to be thinking of things in a business guy and emotional. Yeah. Yep. Y'all. So, yeah. And again, guys, for those that are just tuning in, I'm catching up to the comments. So I appreciate y'all. I want to make sure, because you guys are leaving some great nuggets. I want to bring them up and show the great stuff you guys are saying. I think Roman is kind of sabotage himself. Interesting. Let me know. You're talking still here. Why you feel that way. Shopping in France. Yeah, like I said, I wonder if Marsh is going to play, how much he's going to play into this season. He wasn't on board, but Logan scares him the most. He wasn't on board, but Logan scares him the most. Oh, you're talking about Rome? Yeah. Rome was all business. The first time we see him. Yeah, you're right. When he bought the soccer team, and I mean, yeah. You know what, Stress? You're true. We saw the grown, mature, business savvy Roman in season 3 with the soccer team, with the bringing in Alexander Skarsgård with the Gobo deal. But then we saw the immaturity with the pick he sent his father. So for sure. You said they might be overpaying. Good point, voice. Like I say, yeah, he's definitely someone to keep an eye on in this episode. Let me put a star here because I think we got a super chat. I don't want it to fade away here. So let me bring that up. I'm going to get back to the comment section. Again, if you all are enjoying the conversation, do your boy a favor, hit that thumbs up, share, and continue to leave these great comments in the comment section. I appreciate y'all. What happened to Gobo? So, funny enough, I literally just said that. I think if you saw the trailer, you see Alexander Skarsgård, whose name is slipping me right now, his character's name. He will be involved based on the trailer, but he wasn't involved in tonight's episode. But I think he will be a big player moving forward in this season, especially with him working so closely with Mr. Logan. What is his name, by the way? I'm blanking on Lucas. So yeah. But thank you, Nisi, for the super chat. I appreciate you, and a great question. But I think we'll get more of him for sure. Let me get back to the comments here. Where did I leave off? I thought I put a star, but I didn't. Where did I leave off at? All right, I'm just gonna go here. I see Marsha returning at the end of the series when everything's the whales. That would be crazy. I hope Marsha's involved in the season. They did sort of the new prenup. Okay, thank you. I couldn't remember where they left things off. She wanted some security for her son. I thought it was something to son. Yeah. Thank you. That was. So yeah. Again, it'll be interesting to see if she's involved. I would think so, because they want to tie it all up, right? They can't kind of leave that up in the air. I don't feel like Marsha can add anything to the story now that she's wrapping up. I just feel like she's the only one handle. Yeah, I mean, but again, if Logan is regretful and making up for his past sins, maybe they he apologizes for his behavior or whatnot, not being the best husband. Tom playing a long game. Did they actually even meet? Tom is playing both sides. I think he doesn't trust Logan fully. Oh yeah, for sure. We saw it in tonight's episode with him giving the information and then not telling that he spoke to his wife a little bit earlier. So for sure, y'all think he's playing both sides. Still okay. So Voice says Tom still loves Shiv and wants her to love him. That's why he called her to tell her about Naomi. He didn't want her to hurt if Shiv saw a photo of him and Naomi together in the media. Very good point. Yeah, he definitely, like I said, I think for most of the episode we saw him still fighting for her and caring for her, but by the end of the episode, I don't know if that can still be said. Tom is power hungry like everyone else, but I don't think he wants to let Shiv go. It's messy. Yeah, it's very messy. Very, very messy. But I think we're going to see the real Tom come next week. Utaka says calm, cracks under pressure, but he always lucks out. But be interested to see how his role plays out. Yeah, I'm very curious to see, number one, the Disgusting Brothers, if they'll end up on top. But very much so as far as the Tom of it all, where will he end by this season will be very a plot. I'm very curious to see how they wrap up. Tom messed with Shiv's power, money, and status, and that's all she cares about. Yeah, very good point. Yutaka is Team Shiv. I hope she breaks down. Hey, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a Shiv fan, man, but I do feel bad for Tom as far as just the morally conversation about their relationship in season one. I've always kind of held that over Shiv's head. The way she handled that situation was pretty poor in my eyes. With the whole open marriage after you got married, is a move I find hard to get over. But yeah, we'll see. Team Shiv, Team Tom. Greg wanted to talk about the hookup with Logan. Was like, man, really? Do you really believe he watches? That was so funny, man. That Greg is hilarious. Shiv is indeed shook. Tom is a weak spot, especially since she never thought he could possibly betray, outmaneuver her in the own game. Very well said, Nate. Very well said. Good point. A lot of you are talking about Shiv and Tom here. Where is his house? Napa Valley look like heaven. Yeah, I think it was Napa Valley because they were in LA, and I've never been to LA, but I think it's like a quick plane, not a plane, they have a private jet. It probably got them there in like 10 minutes. But yeah, I think she was in Napa Valley. It was beautiful. Man, girl, that's a good point. Yeah. Who were those people around Nun Pierce her kids? The blonde lady wearing a blue shirt. Yeah, I think those were the kids. If you guys remember when we first met the Pierce family in season 2, it was some pretty noticeable actors. So I would imagine it was they just got some cousins and some close friends of the family versus like having the whole family dynamic there. So I think it was just a family more or less. And like some fill-ins for the actors they probably couldn't bring back. I thought None lived in Massachusetts somewhere. I think she does, but I think she was in LA, making money moves, power move. You bring them out to your mansion, right? You want to have your guests, You want them to see your best side, not your home, right? She doesn't want to bring the Logans into her real home, right? Cold feet incoming. Let's see what people were talking about. What Willa, if she knows what's coming or anything. Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm gonna keep my eye on her this season. She's a gold digger. She's gonna find out too late that Connor doesn't have any money left. Good point. Good point. Tom craves power. If Tom choose between Logan's right hand or married to Shiv, Tom would choose Logan every day. Interesting. I think you might be right. Let's see here. Good questions, guys. Good comments. I love it. Disgusting Brothers. Give me a shirt with that on it. Love it, man. Those two are hilarious, man. I've been shipping them since season 1. The best duo. Yeah, G. They're the best, man. They are the dynamic duo. Colin is security. Travis saying, what's up? I thought this was a watch party. Oh, no. We no watch parties this time around, Travis. Just an after show, man. But we might do a finale watch along, but not tonight. Anyone else here? There's going to be a death this season. Yeah, we talked about that. And my whole, 4 weddings and a funeral. I think we might see a death at the funeral like we did with season 1. And I think that death might be in the form of Logan, but we'll see. Around seeing he's left alone. Exactly. Travis thinks it might be an accidental death, or I don't want to say that on YouTube, but yeah, or someone being unalive. Yeah, we'll see. To me, Logan's a kind of bad person because he died. Yeah. None says, yeah, what comes after? That was such a funny line. What comes after 9? I think we all know, right? Yeah, she was playing them tonight, man. I was loving it. Nan, I'm sorry, I've been saying none this whole time. Thank you, Nan. Thank you. 7 million of kids. Yeah, I'm very curious that extra money, man. That's as Rome was pointing out, that's an extra 500,000. We'll see if that's gonna bite them in the ass. Come a little bit later. Tom is cold too. Yeah, he like I said, there's no definitive. All these characters are in the gray area. Like I said, if anyone, Logan's the dark horse as far as evil goes, but everyone else kind of plays in that gray area. So yeah, Tom can be cold, just as cold as Shiv for sure. The final scene between Shiv and Tom was mad. Yeah, the acting on the show, again, I know the show isn't necessarily everyone's cup of tea. I know some people think it's overrated, and to each their own, but yeah, I think the writing and the acting are the two things that keep me engaged. Because I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this is HBO, House of the Dragon, and sci-fi and horror, but these are talking heads. That can get very repetitive and very boring, but it's the riveting writing and performances that just keep me so engaged. So yeah, those are just two things that I think this show does excellently. Is character development and the writing department is fantastic. Shiv thought she could control him and walk all over him. Logan Roy walks over people close to him like father and like daughter. That's for sure. They do have a prenup. Okay, I think okay. I think they do have a prenup. She signed him up for divorce on the wedding night. What more are you surprised by? Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, this was. I think I said it up top. It was kind of leading towards this, but man, sometimes you want love to prevail. But we'll see what comes of this divorce situation. Yep, could not want to work for ATM right now. Heads are gonna roll. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the kids handling a big conglomerate without their father's help. So that's going to be really interesting to see those three, if they're going to be on the same page, if Rome's going to take me. Like I said, he was kind of roaming around this episode. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can really stick together with running a business together. I think Tom is pregnant. You think or you meant to say Shiv or... okay, this was the comment about Niecy earlier about her being pregnant. Women protect the stomach, men protect the groin. Do they? I don't protect my groin area when I get nervous. I laugh when I get nervous. I don't like cover anything on me. So, hey man, let me know in the chat for my women and my men out there, however you identify. When you're nervous, do you touch your stomach or do you grab your your groin area? I like to have the show instead of a live watch because there's so much going on in the episode. I don't want to be. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, I love watch parties, and we'll probably do one for sure for the finale, but we'll see. feel like Logan doesn't physically die. He just might give his business because he's old and acting. I don't know, man. I think he would rather die, Nate, than give up his business. But you might be right, man. Roast me, everyone. Pretend to hear him, Greg. Yeah, Greg cut low, man, but he came right back at him. And again, I want to know who his dad is. Greg's dad is Rolling Stone. Who knew? You guys are giving me your score. We got an N, 8 out of 10. Tonight's episode. Ooh, let me know, Mortal. What was it about tonight's episode? It didn't click for you, my friend. I got a 9. Yeah, that's what I gave. It was a 9 as well. Wait, what? It's 32 is running. How long was the episode? Oh, you were right. I forgot she is pregnant in real life. I wonder if that's gonna play at all. Lacey might. Okay, remember last episode of the season after Tom did what he did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Trav. She did grab her stomach after that moment. But again, my whole thing about her being pregnant was the conversation they had about her freezing her eggs. So hey, you guys might be onto something, man. I got a 9 out of 10. Season 3. That's what. Yeah, I love season 3, man. I loved it. I'm gonna do a ranking by the end of it, but if I were to off top, my gut's telling me how I feel about the first 3 seasons. Goddamn, season 1 and 2 are fire, but I love season 3. But I would go in this order from best to worst, really from best to less best, because none of them are bad. I might go 2, 1, 3. I might go 2, 1, 3, but we'll see. We'll see. They're buying Gobo in 2 days. Yes, they are. You're right. So that isn't locked in place yet. Did they say? No, I don't think they said it's definitively, but I think in the little post after show that they do with the creators, I think Tom said that it's been a few months since the season finale in the timeline. So I think it's been a few months since we've last seen these characters. Kendall was excellent in the last episode of season 3. Excellent acting, broke down. Yeah, that scene when he told his siblings about what he did in season 1 with the waiter was, or not the waiter, but the the kid that died. Yeah, that was fantastic. This is the comment. I think someone earlier had mentioned I think Voice, if you're still here, he said that he felt that Kendall was more of a role player, supporting character, which I definitely agree with. But I think as Maddie's saying here, Kendall got his redemption in the end of season 2, but couldn't hack it in season 3. I don't know what's up with him now. I want to figure that he's got his business. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's still meat on that bone, but I think him saying out loud that he killed someone was kind of his big moment, but there's still more to explore. And I don't, speaking of like his personal relationships, I don't think we're going to see his kids and wife anymore the rest of this season. So I think, man, I don't know, man, with Kendall this season, because this whole thing is sticking to his dad. So, and he pretty much did that in the episode tonight, but there's still more. Cause if you all saw that trailer, I mean, things got intense. So there's definitely more to Kendall in this season. Kendall looked like he was high, like tonight or in the trailer, because excuse me, he didn't look like he was high tonight. He looked pretty straightforward to me, because we've seen him, the difference in his the way he carries himself. Kendall can only function in the corporate world or drugs. I don't blame him. See, only handle the pressure. What was their new company about? Oh, the Hundreds. I think it was just like media streaming, just kind of the new stuff that people love now. The TikToks, kind of, immediate, news cycles all the time. So I think it was just kind of like their dad's business, Waco, just more updated. Oh yeah, for sure. He's an Elon Musk type of architect of a character. Tom loves Logan. I've seen Phil. Never really saw him Phil tonight. Tell you that much. Also heard the rumor that Gary get the company. Huh? What was that? Also heard a rumor that Jerry will get the company for being loyal. Well, she was temporary CEO in season 3 for a little bit there. They're still not smart enough to see what was in the world and Golden Kids beat Logan, but being a smart business, yeah. Good stuff. Tom only has lips for disgusting brothers. Oh, you didn't like that? I thought it was so funny. That was so funny. But again, comedy subjective. No one's disgusting more than Shiv. Oh, we got a Shiv hater. No, I'm joking. Maybe Tom did not warn Logan that he can. I mean, yeah, I think, like I said, there was still some love there. Didn't look too good. Really? She didn't. She looked a lot better than we saw her last year. Let me see if I can find a picture of Naomi. She looked sober. And like I said, I felt Ken looked sober too this episode. They both. I don't know. She looked okay to me. She didn't look like she was. Here, I think I have a still photo of her. And her, she was the one that was being the middle person. She was the one that was going back and forth. So I don't know. I thought she looked okay to me. I don't think she was on drugs, but I could be wrong. 2 weeks. This is what comes after Succession? Anyone know? Oh well, Barry season 4. Another goddamn my heart. Another one of my favorite shows. If you guys aren't watching Barry, Bill Hader as a assassin turned actor, and all the shenanigans that come with that. Another one of my favorite shows on TV. So to answer your question, Voice, Barry season 4, April 27th, I believe, is the premiere date. Barry next to Succession is two of my favorite shows. Man, some of my favorite shows have been ending in the last year. Atlanta, this, Barry, Stranger Things ending next year. There was another show that ended. Servant wasn't that great of an ending, but yeah, a lot of my favorite shows are ending. And to answer your question, Barry's the next big thing. That's their show for the summer. And then also that new Elizabeth Olsen show, where she is that woman that kills her. Well, I don't want to. I can't remember the name of it, but I know the new Elizabeth Olsen show and Barry are going to be like the 2 shows for the summer. So always, they always got good stuff coming on. So many good comedy beats in tonight's episode. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Travis. If you watch the replay, as far as the Connor of it all, we kind of speculated about that, even in his sleep. Maddie's saying he seemed chill. Oh, you talking about? Yeah, I didn't think Kim was on. I don't think he was on any drugs, in my opinion. Yeah, it's cracking. What, Naomi? What's up, man? Love and death. Thank you, Maddie. Waiting patiently for Severance season 2. Severance season 2. You and me both, brother. You and me both. And the way it's looking, if I'm being honest, I think Severance is probably going to be the end of the summer. But I wouldn't be mad if it's a fall premiere, because it's such a great show. But I know they want to get in the Emmys run, so I wouldn't be surprised if Severance is end of the summer, early fall. But whatever it is, we will be talking about Severance. It was my favorite show of 2022. And I can't wait for season 2. So yeah, can't wait for it. But I think I'm caught up, y'all. And we're under an hour and a half. So that's awesome, because sometimes I can talk a lot, but I love it. I love talking to you all. So listen, that is it. We're going to wrap it up, y'all. This was our first premiere episode of the finale of Succession, episode 1, season 4. Man, I can't believe this is the last episode or last season, man. But I had fun tonight, y'all. And again, this is something I want to do every Sunday after the episode. We're going to have these live reactions, discussions where I break it down. And as far as moving forward, let me know if you all are still here. We got 76 still strong in the chat. I appreciate y'all. We're going to do these every Sunday. But then for those that found my channel or like when I did this episode breakdowns that were given to me, I was just kind of side note. I was given the episodes last season. Unfortunately, HBO was like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna give you this year's screeners. And it's always just a little behind the scenes for me. It's always good when I get screeners because I can schedule it out, watch the episode, do a review, cut it up, and have it ready for you guys after the episode. But we're not obviously going to do that this time around. So let me know if you guys would be okay with me. Number one, we're going to do these after shows every Sunday, but then maybe cut this after show and just break it into my breakdown and just use that as the weekly breakdown. Or if you would prefer, if I just set aside some time and do like a breakdown, let me know. I think the way my schedule is going to work, I'm going to probably do the first option. But either way, every Sunday after the episode, live after show, I might have guests moving forward, but I kind of like this more intimate one-on-one conversation where I can read all your comments and all that stuff, interact with you all. But we might have a guest or two as we move along in the season. But if we don't, I would really appreciate if you guys join me every Sunday, because I love this show. I love interacting with you all with this show. I love reading your comments, your predictions, your theories, breaking down the characters. What did you think about this scene? What did you think about this character motives? Why did they make this move? Why didn't they make this move? I love it, man. So we will be doing it every Sunday, and I'm really, really excited to be here with you all. So again, calling it a night. Thank you for joining me. So much fun. And again, I want to give a shout out to the we got a super chat earlier from Nisi. Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in. Before we leave this thing, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, if you had a good time, if you're happy about this being the beginning of hopefully a fantastic conclusion to this amazing show. Hit the thumbs up, share. Those watching the replay, leave your thoughts in the comment section. And we'll be back next Sunday talking about episode 2 of Succession. A couple more comments before we leave out. Let me see here. Invincible, another fantastic show. Yeah, I think that'll be here by the summer. One of the best. Not yeah, for sure. Thanks. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate you, man. Hot start. Yeah. Anyone watching Rabbit Hole? No, I don't even know what that is, bro. Okay, appreciate it, G. First option's fine. Oh, cool. I appreciate y'all. Maybe a break after 20 re-comments. Yeah, we'll tweak it. But I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Maddie. It was dope. Tom, see y'all. Either way is chill. Cool. All right, guys. Well, on that note, you're awesome. You're great. Have a great week, y'all. As far as the channel goes, it's gonna be a pretty chill week. I saw Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm gonna have like a short review coming out this week for that. But besides that, there's really nothing else big coming out. I have screeners for the new Netflix show Beef with my man Steven Yeun and Ali Wang. She's great. I'm going to know her name by the time I review it. I'm a big fan of hers, but I'm going to be watching that this week and having that review up for when it comes out next week. And we'll be back next Sunday. So on that note, again, y'all be safe. Have a great week. Again, thumbs up, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.